I will draw your face.
Hey everyone. Alright, so here's our second tutorial. We are just talking a little bit about coloring, finishing up the skin and coloring the neck. I know there was a first part to this, but I got the audio mixed up with the video, so now I'm recording this one last. It's weird. Anyways, so this is just going to be us finishing up the shadows on the skin and working on the shadows for the neck. Alright, as you can see, I'm using the Prismacolor Peach as well as the Caran D'Ache French Gray and White to get the skin a little bit more uniform. There's a lot of pencil layers on here now, and I started to color the neck with apricot and burnt ochre and pink. I think it's blush pink from what I remember. No, it's not blush pink. They don't have one. I forgot what it's called, but anyways. So here I am starting the undertones for the neck with pink, and then I did use burnt sienna for this to start building the darker shadows on the left side of the neck. Some of the pencils, the color labels have rubbed off, so I don't remember what they're called. Sometimes I get the Prismacolor shades mixed up with the Caran D'Ache ones, so sorry. But you know what I'm talking about. You can get the reference. You get the point. Alright, so here I am going in with the dark brown again to put another layer of another shadow on there. And I am still coloring in one direction on the neck like I did with the face to keep it uniform, and I go over it in the opposite direction. So here's some more cross hatching that I usually do, and then there's a really dark yellow that Caran D'Ache has that I really like, and it's really helped me out a lot. It's not goldenrod; it's a little bit darker than that one, but it helps bring some yellow to the skin whenever you're adding shadows. When I add shadows to the skin, I'll use that color, and then I'll use this this purple on top of it to give it some depth. And then I go over it again with the French Gray. So this really sets this part of the neck back in space, which is what you want. I would not recommend using black on skin for shadows. If you do, be very, very careful because you can easily ruin it. And I'm adding some of that light pink from Caran D'Ache again to get it to get some more pink added in, but also white, without making the skin too red. I did speed up parts of this video so that the video wasn't so long. Feel free to skip around because I'm honestly not going to be paying attention to whether or not you're watching the whole thing, so that's up to you. And then I added another layer of the burnt sienna to darken the skin a little bit more, and then I went over that with the buff titanium. So here's where I actually start blending some of the color, and then I just move on to another section. If the section that one looks a little dark, so I think that's where okay, that's where the hair is, yeah. So I know this color is really dark, it seems dark for the skin, but remember we are going to be adding in cream, buff titanium, and white to lighten it. And here's that darker yellow again that I really like using, just to add some more warmth to the skin. And I must have thought there wasn't enough pink, because here I am adding pink again. I remember when I was working on this, it reminded me of the Randy Moss drawing that I did, because I spent so much time coloring the neck just because of the size of the drawing. But it, like, the blending process reminds me a little bit of that. Here's a small section of where I was coloring the hair. Or no, I was coloring the skin where the hair is. When you do have to color skin where there's going to be hair on top of it, you do generally want to color a little bit more skin and make it a little bit more gray. And that way when you add in the hair, it looks like the hair is casting shadows on the skin. But that way you're not making the hair look so solid looking. There's a little bit more depth because you can see some of the skin underneath it. There is going to be a tutorial after this for hair, so we can just skip that part for now. Don't worry about that. I think I don't generally just use black for coloring hair. There's a process for coloring red hair, so we'll get into that in the next tutorial. I think I just colored this part to make sure that the skin was not too light, just to like show contrast. I wanted to make sure I was where I should be for the skin. That way I didn't have to go back and do anything over again. And here's where I start coloring the ear, which is a very small section of the face. I started out with the really pale sky blue from Caran D'Ache, went over that with white, and then started adding apricot and all the skin tones that I used for the face. And then I used that really light blush pink, that brighter pink. I used the burnt sienna to start putting shadows in on the ear. And I believe this is buff titanium. It's white, but it's a little bit I don't know how to say it. It's not as bright as white, but it's pretty close. So sometimes I like using that instead of just using the plain white. I don't know why. It's not that much different. I usually get a lot of questions on how I do this stuff, like skin and all of that, so I figure it's probably easier to just make tutorials, and that way I can explain it better and you can actually see me doing the work and you can see what I'm talking about, because it makes more sense that way. So I hope this is helpful. Here is where I was finishing setting the ear apart from the face, so I had to add white under the ear so that you could see that there was light shining on her neck a little bit. And I'm working in circular motions again on the ear, and using the burnt sienna to make it a little darker there where the ear canal is. And then I went over that with, I did add in some yellow and some pink again. And I had to go back with my battery eraser and erase the pencil lines because they were still showing through, because I forgot to erase them before I started coloring, so it was a little bit backwards. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can leave a comment below if there's another tutorial you want me to do, and I will see you guys next time.